Maybe you have received one of those credit cards with the new chip technology, or maybe not.
Yeah, I'm
if you're
still
like
waiting.
most Americans, your credit card company still hasn't sent you one.
But what's really behind this new technology, and will it make a difference to you in fighting fraud? Well, here with everything you need to know this morning is lifestyle expert Shari O. And let's start with explaining exactly what this is all about. Why are the credit card companies making us change our credit cards in the first place?
Great question. So we call it EMV, which stands for EuroPay, MasterCard, and Visa. And essentially, it's a card, rather than having a magnetic strip, it has a computer chip embedded in it. And the idea is to combat fraud. So when you have your magnetic strip, John, and you swipe it, basically it's communicating static data, which the bad guys can pick up and reuse over and over again for their own fraudulent charges. Computer chip, this is pretty cool technology. You dip it into the new readers and it actually creates a new transaction code every time you make a purchase.
Wow.
Now the bad guys can still access it, but they can never use it again because each purchase requires a brand new transaction code. So they've been using this in Europe for about 7 years. The thing is, the bad guys always find the weakest link. So when they couldn't commit fraud in Europe, they started committing more fraud here. And even though we only have about 25% of the worldwide credit card charges here, we have almost 50% of the credit card fraud. It's costing retailers and the card issuers over $5 billion a year, and that answers your question, why they want us to use that.
Well, that's
exactly.
a huge problem. All right, so
Good explanation.
I've got 3 questions. How many consumers still don't have the chip card? How many retailers still haven't installed the technology? And what do we do in the meantime?
Well, most people don't. I don't know about you guys. I've received my chip card. A lot of people, less than half of the folks have received a chip-enabled card. Less than half of the retailers have installed it, even though the deadline was last month. Here's the 2 most common questions we're getting. Number 1 is this going to increase my liability if I haven't received the card yet? And the answer is no. The liability is going to fall on the company that hasn't provided the new chip card or a company that hasn't installed the new reader. The other question is, if I don't have a chip card and I go to a retailer that has the reader, will I be able to make a purchase? Or if I do have a chip card and the retailer doesn't have the reader, what's going to happen? And what they're doing, this is actually my new Amtrak Rewards card. The cards are being issued right now with the chip on the one side and the strip on the other. So they're enabled both ways, as are the readers. So you don't need to worry about either of those scenarios.
All right, that's a good idea. Now, after everyone's online with the new chip cards and readers, then what happens?
Well, the ATMs and the gas pumps, 2017 is the deadline for those. But here's the thing. We saw the fraud really drop in Europe when we reached about a 60 to 70% saturation rate. So that's what we're looking for. It'll probably take about 3 years to get there. The problem is these chips do absolutely nothing to prevent online fraud. So everyone needs to be aware, watch out for your credit cards for those online charges, because we're expecting online fraud to double because of this. After that, we'll see even more technology like PIN numbers, and they're even experimenting now with contactless credit cards that you don't even have to swipe or anything, which is great because then we can spend money even faster. Right?
Yeah, that's just what I need.
Exactly.
That Bloomingdale's card flying.
Yeah. Well, get ready for it, and hopefully we'll all be up to speed real quick.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so
Shari,
much,
thank
Shari.
you.
Nice to see you. We'll be right back.